Hello everybody and welcome to Wonderland Gaming. I'm your host Alice and this is a tutorial on how to install RogueTech mod for BattleTech. It's going to be probably a lengthy video, but don't let that intimidate you. I tend to go into a lot of detail on a lot of things. But installing it is going to require just three very simple things. First of all, you're going to need BattleTech. Second of all, you're going to need RogueTech core file. And then you're going to need the community asset bundle. So just two files and the game itself. And all you're going to do um, is install the core, make the choices that you want because you can choose which parts of the mod you want to install, which ones you don't. Install the community asset bundle, and then launch BattleTech. It's as simple as that. So first things first, you will need BattleTech, as I said. It is available on Steam, and I've actually seen it on Humble Bundle as well. And it's on special quite often. Very good game, and if you enjoy it in the vanilla, then please do so. But if you want to really add a lot of different features to the game, you'll want RogueTech. It's really amazing. So the first thing you want to do is right-click on BattleTech and choose Properties. And you'll want to go to local files. And you want to click on this button, verify integrity of game files. Okay. And you want to do that because, pardon me, you want to make sure that if there's any, you don't want any issues with the base game before you install a mod on top of it. It's pretty simple. Doing this does take a couple of minutes. And if it detects any problems, you don't have to worry about that. It's going to download and repatch the files that it needs automatically. So we will wait for that to occur. In the meantime, while we're waiting for that, you need to open up a browser. We don't need this. All right. There are two files, as I said, you need to get. They're on Nexus Mods. And I will be posting the location of these files in the description of the video below. The first one, as I said, is the ModTech or the RogueTech core. And you just want to click on that and download it. You want to download this to a secure location, wherever is convenient for you. Pardon me. So just find the location. I have a downloads folder, so I just have a BattleTech folder in there. I stick it in there. All right. And then while that's happening, we'll go ahead and go back over and I will get the asset bundle. And we'll pick that up. Now, these instructions are going to be the same for installing new and also updating RogueTech. So this will be for both. There's very, 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 very little difference between the two. One thing I have noticed when I'm doing the download on Nexus Mods, I'm not sure what the deal is, but my browser tends to hang on the RogueTech core file. It just sits there for a minute, and then it won't let me download the next file until this thing is done. I believe that Windows is in the background verifying that I'm not trying to install something horribly bad on my computer. But that's fine. It will clear eventually. Here we go. And now we can go ahead and download the community bundle. Nope, don't need it twice, just once. Thank you, Windows. Okay. Now I'm just going to go ahead and open up that window. Let's make sure that the integrity. Oh, there we go. One file failed to validate will be reacquired. So there you go. So that's all you need to do here. I'm going to go ahead and close that. Got an extra file here that we don't need. There we go. All right. So we can close this and we're done with the browser, so we can minimize that. Now, while the second file is downloading, we can go ahead and start the install itself. So you install the RogueTech core first. It's called RogueTech core, and then the rest of it will be specific to the version of RogueTech that you're installing. So as long as it says RogueTech core, that's what you want. Double click on that and hit run. And then Windows is going to go, oh no, you've got this file from the internet. Are you sure you want to do this? Yes, you do want to do this. Hit yes. Then choose next. You want to accept the agreement. If you don't want to accept the agreement, you've kind of gone too far in this video, right? If we wouldn't be at this point. But anyway, go ahead and accept the agreement. Hit next. And it's going to automatically detect where your BattleTech location is. If it doesn't do that, just hit the browse folder and navigate to it. But I've never heard of an instance of it not successfully detecting it automatically. So go ahead and hit next. And this is where you get to pick all of the different options that you want for RogueTech. And we're going to go over them here and at least some level of detail so that you understand what it is that we're looking at. Okay. RogueTech, it's important to note that RogueTech is a mod, but it is a mod made up of many different mods. Okay, so there's a core part of RogueTech, and then there's some of those core parts require you to configure what configurations you want for them, what settings. And then there's other optional mods that are included in it that you don't have to include if you don't want to. So this screen is going to let you choose what you do and what you do not want. Very first thing you're going to do is your difficulty scaling. So this is going to determine the how the contracts you take get more difficult as you go on, because you want to take more and more difficult contracts so that you can get better and better equipment, right? The default is difficulty by reputation, and basically what that is is as you become allied, not necessarily allied, but as you do more missions for people, they're going to offer you better contracts that are easier as long as you're closer to the home planet. As you get further away from their home planet, those contracts will become more difficult. And also, likewise, as you, if you try to take contracts against people that may not like you so much, then those contracts will be more difficult as well. Okay, it's a little bit more complicated than I'm making it out to be, but it is the difficulty that I play on, and I find it scales quite well. Okay? The next one is by company rating. And what that is basically it takes the top 8 mechs that you own, if you own 8 mechs, and assesses their equipment and gives them a rating. Okay, and essentially, the more powerful your lances become, then the more difficult contracts you're going to be offered. That makes sense. Now, this makes it difficult to start in clan space because you start out with all of the new, or neat clan equipment, and you tend to get over assessed. In other words, you'll be offered contracts that you simply aren't able to complete. Now, I will say that I have done this this rating in clan space successfully. It is just very difficult, so be aware of that. And then the third one is planet rating. This is the default rating that that the vanilla BattleTech has. Basically, each system has its own default difficulty rating, and it will never change, right? So you'll be basically stuck on certain planets until you get to a certain level and are able to take more difficult contracts on other planets. So those are the 3 options. As I said, I choose difficulty by reputation. Choose the one that fits your playstyle. That's important. All right, next one is mission control. And this adds a lot of variety to the game. After you play BattleTech for a while, you start noticing, oh, I know what this map is. I know where I'm going to land on this map. I know where the enemy is going to spawn. I know exactly where I need to go in order to win, essentially. This randomizes that quite a bit, okay? But you get 4 different options. One, you could turn it off. If you don't like, that randomization and that element of surprise, then you could turn it off. Reasons why you may want to do that, I like it personally, just to be clear, but it is the chaos of battle. And sometimes, if you're taking down a military base, for example, you'll end up having to spawn right next to the military base. So it's like, oh, shoot, there goes my strategy of approaching in a certain way to do that. It can make it more difficult. But anyway, so option 1 is you turn it off, right? Option 2 is you turn it on and you leave it at randomizes battle spawns. That's what I just described to you, where it randomizes where you spawn, where the enemy spawns, that type of thing, okay? The second one is it randomizes the spawns and you get large maps. So you get new, bigger maps, which is cool. And the other one is massive sized battles and 2-player lances. Now, let me be clear on what I mean by 2-player lances. I don't mean 2 different players, okay? It's 2 lances controlled by 1 player, right? But what I love about this is since I play in clan space all the time, I can actually drop with 5 mechs instead of 4 because the default game only allows you to do a lance. But, clans, as we always know, or hopefully know, clans deal in stars of 5 points. Okay. So it allows you to do that, or it allows you to drop with anywhere from 4 all the way up to 8 mechs. There's no penalty for doing so. Keep in mind though, as you take more difficult contracts, when you get 3.5 skull contracts, 4 skull contracts, 5 skull contracts, you're going to start seeing that the enemy is going to scale as well. Instead of coming at you with the base lance and maybe a backup, you might see 2 base lances and 2 waves of backups, or 3. So it does scale the difficulty accordingly. But then again, you have more loot available to you. So keep that in mind. We are going to go ahead and choose massive size battles and 2 player lances. DLC modules. This is pretty straightforward. When you bought BattleTech, did you buy also Flashpoint in Urban Warfare? Okay. If you own them, either of them, then select them. If you don't, then don't select it. You don't need them in order for RogueTech to work. I will say that RogueTech enhances them incredibly, and it's very much worth it. Heck, the vanilla version of them, even without RogueTech, is worth it. So I highly recommend them. But if you don't own them, you don't need to, and you can just select them. Do not, however, select them if you don't have them, because it could crash the game if you don't have Flashpoint and RogueTech tries to give you a Flashpoint, if that makes sense. Choose RogueTech mode. Right now, this is grayed out and there's no options here, but they are going to be bringing back the option of so there's online RogueTech, which is the default. Okay, and basically what that is you are a mercenary group and you're traveling around the inner sphere and clan space, taking missions, right? It is online, so the map is shared amongst all of the other RogueTech players. Okay, so as you take missions for somebody you're allied with, you will gain your ally influence over that planet. Okay, and as people that are allied with opposing factions do the same, they can take away your faction's influence on the planet. It's really kind of cool. So that's an online feature. Right now, the other option is not online, and basically what that does is it marries RogueTech to the base campaign. Now, that sounds really cool, and it is, I'll be honest. I've seen people do it very, very rarely. The reason why is because the base campaign is not scaled to the difficulty of RogueTech. RogueTech adds in a tremendous amount of difficulty and, frankly, carnage to the game. Okay, you're going to be taking a lot more damage, and it's going to take you a little bit more time to recover that damage. And the base campaign doesn't give you enough money to compensate for that, so it makes it more challenging. Now, that being said, I have seen people successfully do it, but I will say that if when that option becomes available again, RogueTech team doesn't, purposely doesn't scale to that. In other words, don't come to the RogueTech team and go, "Oh gosh, I can't complete the main campaign using RogueTech." It's like, well, that's by design. You do that at your own risk. But right now, that option is grayed out, so I'm not even going to worry about it. All right, now, RogueTech takes the game all the way up to about the 3055 era, right around Clan Wars, or the Clan Invasion, I should say. Sorry, that's the core of RogueTech. Now, as I said before, there's optional components of RogueTech that you can install, and one of those some of those optional components are you can add new eras. You can add the Civil War era, the Jihad era, the Republic era, and the Dark Age era. Right, and along with their accompanying mechs and variants. If you don't like any of those eras, turn them off. If you like some of them and not others, turn some of them on, turn some of them off, or turn all of it off. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. Right. And then there's also unique and hero units that are associated with each era. Again, turn on the ones you like, turn off the ones you don't like. All right. Then we come to the optional mods and components section. So the Irano Restoration is the campaign, all right? And somebody's taken the campaign, all of the different story missions that you get, and turned them into individual flashpoints. I've done actually one of them, and it's really kind of cool. I don't do a lot of flashpoints, so that's why I've only done the one. But it's neat, and I highly recommend doing it. It's really kind of cool. They have scaled up the difficulty for RogueTech, and you get to participate. Good. Protomechs. Protomechs is kind of a weird misnomer. Protomechs are mechs that are they're smaller than 20 tons, which is the smallest true mech, but they're not power armor either. So that's what protomechs are. Okay, you end up with 10-ton or 15-ton battle mechs. Non-cannon 2C units. So basically, a 2C unit is an inner sphere mech. That has been equipped by the clans with clan equipment. Okay, So you like the Hunchback 2C, for example. What this is it adds more Inner Sphere mechs equipped with clan equipment that aren't in canon. In other words, you're not going to find these variants on Sarna. That makes sense. Sarna.net. Looted clan mechs. Lady Electo, who is the head head modder for RogueTech, because RogueTech is made up of many mods, many different modders, but she's the lead. Basically, she's a huge fan of pirates. So looted clan mechs are clan mechs that have been looted by pirates and outfitted with pirate equipment. And they're monstrosities, and they're amazing. So that's what that is. Herbocalypse. We have another modder by the name of Raza, and he has a very unhealthy obsession with urban mechs. A very, very unhealthy obsession with urban mechs. There's so many variants of urban mechs, and they're deadly. You cannot look at it and go, oh, urban mech, who cares? We'll just roll over it and wreck it. Not necessarily going to happen. Some of them can absolutely one-shot you. There is a nuclear-armed urban mech, for example, if you have the nuclear option enabled. That's down below. In keeping in honor of that tradition, they have added Herbocalypse, which basically adds a chance for any Lancino encounter to be made up completely of urban mechs of various types. So that's what Herbocalypse is. Super heavies, exactly what it sounds like. Mechs heavier than 100 tons. Keep in mind, you're not going to be starting with a mech with over 100 tons, which means you're going to have to encounter them and defeat them in order to get them into your lance. Possibly have to do so multiple times. Good luck. Elite pilots and mechs, just like it sounds like. Lances and contracts to face superior skilled forces by Lady Electo. So basically, mechs that are outfitted and in a different way than you're normally used to seeing, and they are absolutely deadly. But what's cool is if you are able to defeat them, they have really nice equipment. And some of them are frankly really hilarious. I'll let you discover what those are on your own. Republic Institute of Strategic Combat, also known as RISC. These are experimental IS tech and units. Again, high risk, high reward, right? They are equipped with advanced equipment. Some of them are very difficult to deal with. But if you're able to overcome them, you end up with better equipment. Pirate tech units. As I mentioned, Lady Electo really likes her pirates. And here's a bunch of pirate units and pirate tech. And pirate tech is exactly what you would imagine if the Mad Max world had gotten a hold of battle mechs, and that's what pirate mechs are. There you go. Heavy artillery units. So if you're not satisfied with the amount of destruction that your normal mechs are able to put out, then bring in the heavy artillery, Arrow 4 systems, things of that nature. Orbital artillery strikes. Yeah, that's what these units do. In fact, just last night I was playing and I took out a Naga after it took out one of my mechs. Wasn't very happy about that, but was happy to get a heavy mech because Naga Assault. I think Naga's Assault mech, and I'm still dealing. I had 2 medium mechs and I took out an Assault mech. Awesome. Experimental weapons, exactly what it sounds like. Experimental mechs and weapons. These are very advanced and very experimental weapons. For instance, a Rack 20. Still in the game, very, very nasty, but lots of fun if you end up getting one on your own, right? If you can manage the heat, you can manage the ammo loadout, a Rack 20 is pretty amazing. Now, I will say, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, RogueTech is so overpowered. The RogueTech team actually took some parts of the experimental weapons out of that mod because they were just too overpowered. So yeah, that gives you an idea of what was in there. Lots of fun stuff that are in there. Drones of Siberia, barely cannon flashpoint. I have never done this flashpoint, but somebody basically told me that imagine Transformers in BattleTech. All right, I don't know what exactly that means, but it sounds kind of cool and amazing. So that's what that is. It's a flashpoint. So you have to have flashpoint to select this. But it's a flashpoint that it's probably not exactly in keeping with the spirit of what BattleTech is, but it's a lot of fun. So that's what that is. Nuclear weapon carriers. If you like getting one shot, add nuclear weapon carriers. Lots of fun. I do know of at least one person that has managed to defeat a nuclear weapon carrier and has taken nuclear weapons for themselves and are just gleefully whispering in the ears of the RogueTech mods to add even more nuclear weapons. Now, I'm going to be honest here. I don't particularly enjoy nuclear weapons being in the game. I think that, you know, everybody has that unwritten agreement, no nuclear weapons in BattleTech, right? And so generally you don't see nuclear weapons in there. That being said, I'm a streamer, and you know, quite frankly, it's funny. You know, now I will say this: I will reload a mission which I get one shot by a nuclear weapon carrier. But other than that, it's actually really funny. You're minding your own business, going along. It's like, hey, look, there's an urban mech, and then it fires, and your entire lance dies. There you go. So select it if you want it. Don't select it if you don't. Emblem options. There's all kinds of emblems in the game, and this adds even more. And some of them are really kind of cool looking. So I highly recommend getting all those installed. FX options. These are modifications to the audio and visual effects of the game. All right, Commander Portrait Loader adds even more Commander Portraits. Keep in mind they are pictures, so you're not going to be able to modify the portraits like you can with, you know, the normal portrait. Okay? But there are also, a lot of them are really funny, and some of them are really, really, so that's what that is. BattleTech Sound Replacement Pack basically replaces the default sounds in BattleTech and brings them up in keeping with one of the MechWarrior games. It's either MechWarrior Online or MechWarrior 4, I'm not sure which. But it replaces all the laser sounds, PPC sounds, all the weapons and stuff like that. All of those sound effects are replaced by those instead. Skip travel cutscenes. Oh my gosh. I had no idea how many cutscenes were in the travel scenes as you're traveling from planet to planet until I disabled them. And then I'd forgotten until I had to reinstall Vanilla for a while because Urban Warfare had just come out and I wanted to play it. And RogueTech didn't have an adaptation for it. But anyway, it added so much more time. So this will save you a lot of time of just staring at the screen. Crystal Clear dramatically reduces post-processing. Not entirely sure what that is, but reducing post-processing sounds good. So I have that enabled. Silence. Disable most ambient chatter. I like the ambient chatter. The ambient chatter is when, you know, you're sitting on the Argo, configuring your mechs or doing whatever, and you'll just hear people come over to the loudspeaker and say random things. Or like when you go in and talk to Darius or something, and he greets you or whatever, that's all the ambient chatter they're talking about. That gets rid of that. I like it, so I keep it. And then you get to select the style of alternative portraits from X. Just pick the one that you like. You know, I'll change this on occasion, just randomly. So anyway, that's what that is. Quality of life options. So these are things to make your life easier, all right? Skip the intro. If you don't want to see the intro or have to manually skip the intro every time you launch the game, that's what that is. And then the speed mod. This doubles the game speed. It's a turn-based game, so it can drag on. It could take a while, so this kind of speeds that up a bit. Sort mechs by cost. It's exactly what it sounds like. When you're looking at the mech bay, it sorts them from your most expensive to your least expensive mech. And expensive is determined by the equipment that you have on the mech. So it is possible that your, you know, fully kitted out and really amazing, you know, Locust may come before your, you know, stock urban mech, right? It's a heavier mech, but, you know, the Locust has the better equipment, so it comes first. Retrainer. So one time for each pilot, you can spend 500,000 credits and, I'm sorry, C-bills. Credits. 500,000 C-bills, and you can retrain one of your pilots. So if you don't like the way their skills have been set up, you can retrain them. Mouse 4 as escape key. I always have this installed, but I'll be honest, I always forget about that it exists. But basically, it allows you to use your fourth mouse button if your mouse has one, as the escape key. So kind of a shortcut. And then the debugger logger enabled, only used for bug finding. So I always have this enabled. I do a lot of alpha testing when it's available or beta testing for RogueTech. And what this does is it turns on extra logging for the various mods of the game. Okay. Sorry, I've got a cold and my nose is trying to go off. But anyway, it does slow down the game, I will say that. But I don't tend to notice it because I always have it enabled. Keep in mind, though, that if you find a bug and it's in one of the mods that doesn't have the logging enabled by default, they may not be able to identify what the problem is when you log the bug. That makes sense. So You know, if you turn it on and you find that it slows you down too much, go ahead and turn it off. It's not going to hurt anything. All right. And then this last option, I honestly feel personally it should, and keep in mind, I'm a casual gamer, but I feel this shouldn't be optional. But in the default vanilla version of BattleTech, as long as when you go on a mission, if you come back, as long as none of the if you take damage, but none of the shots have gone internal. In other words, you still have at least some shred of armor on a location or on all of your locations. All of your repair costs are free. This takes that away. It's not realistic. If you take damage of any kind, then there's going to be a cost and time associated with fixing that. It's not a lot, but unless, you know, of course, you do get actually internal damage and you start taking serious damage to your mech, that's going to take a while, right? But that's what this is. It makes that a little bit more realistic, right? Once you've chosen the options that you want, go ahead and hit the next button here. All right. Now, if this is your first time install, first of all, I know it shows that it doesn't. It is no option. There really isn't. You need to choose one of these two options. Okay. This is either your first time installing ModTech or you're patching your existing version of ModTech. Okay. So just like it sounds, for the first time, choose this, and every other time after that, choose this. Okay. And then these next options, clean previous install. Technically, if you look at the patch notes for RogueTech, because it's constantly being patched, you look at the patch notes for RogueTech, and it doesn't say requires clean previous install, you technically don't need to do this. That being said, I have never heard of any problems or any issues associated with doing a clean previous install. So why not do it, right? It costs you nothing. I don't even think it takes much extra time, so just do it, right? The only thing I recommend is uncheck, remove skirmish saves, and game settings. I've never done skirmish, so I don't have any skirmish settings. So you can remove them all day long. I don't really care. And game settings, I don't really want to reset all of my game options every single time I install RogueTech. It's really tedious after a while. So unchecking that will allow you to do that. Okay. Now, this isn't all that you have on the screen. This confused me for a long time. There's actually a scroll bar here where it says activate debug menu. I highly recommend doing that for one reason, and this is important. I want to pause here for a minute. Okay. The debug menu, straight up, I'm going to tell you right now, allows you to cheat at the game. Okay. Don't do it. That's not what it's here for. Okay. If you use it to cheat at the game, there are ways that the RogueTech team know automatically that you've done that. And why is that important? It's not like the RogueTech team wants to sit there and go, you cannot cheat. It's not that. It's the fact that, as I mentioned earlier, this game has an online component. When you are on doing missions for a company that you've allied with, right? When you're doing that, you are influencing the online map. And if you're cheating to do it, then that's an unfair advantage that other people don't have. So please don't cheat at the game. Okay? That being said, there is a bug in the vanilla version of BattleTech. It's not something that RogueTech can fix. All right. In one specific type of mission, it's the escort mission. Every once in a while, the mechs or vehicles that you're escorting, the AI just crashes. It just, I don't know what it does, but it refuses to move one or more of your vehicles. No matter what you do, you can get as close as you want to it. You can't attack them. You can't do anything. They just sit there, and you can't complete the mission if that's the case. Having the debug menu allows you to go into the debug menu. It allows you to basically destroy any mechs that are having that kind of problem or vehicles that are having that kind of problem, and then you're able to move on. Okay. It also allows you to automatically win the particular scenario. Don't do that because you won't get credit, right? That's one of the cheat things that are enabled. And you'll lose your ability to influence the online map. So that's why it's there for. If you enable it, don't abuse it. Okay. Anyway, once you're done, hit next. You've chosen everything you need to choose, and hit install. And this is going to take a couple of minutes. Now, every once in a while, it hasn't done it in quite a while for me, but every once in a while, what it's doing is just trying to go and get control of the files that are in your BattleTech folder. So that you can put them where they need to go. Every once in a while, it fails to actually take control for me. I don't know why. I haven't heard of anybody else having this problem. But if you do happen to have that problem, it'll just say, hey, I can't lock one of the files, and try again later. If you just hit, if you hit OK there and just do the reinstall again, it'll keep all of the settings that you've made, so you're not going to choose everything over again, and it'll work. It just happens to go on and do what it needs to do. But anyway, sometimes it'll hang here for a couple of minutes, as I said, but 99 times out of 100, it's just going to go on and start to doing the install process. Okay. We're going to, actually, I don't have control. There we go. Taking it a minute. That's weird. Well, let's sit here and, there it goes. All right, so it's extracting all the files it needs to extract, okay? While it's doing that, you can see that my second file has finished downloading. It is a zip file. It says the community asset bundle. We're gonna go into that, go over that in just a minute, okay? As I said, this takes just a couple of minutes to go ahead and do the install. Now, I know a lot of people on their videos will skip through long times like this that take a couple of minutes. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that on purpose because I want you to see how long it takes on an average for these things to work. So you know, if Alice says, hey, it took a couple of minutes for this to happen, what does that actually mean, right? Like when it hung right there. When do I need to start worrying, right? I apologize. You can go ahead and fast forward through those parts if you don't like them, but that's why I've done that. Once it's done, you will be presented with this screen. Don't just skip past the screen, okay? This is important, all right? I'm going to go over what these options are and what they mean, okay? The RogueTech Wiki. Please read the wiki. I'm glad that you ended up coming here and that you're watching this tutorial. That's excellent. But this isn't going to cover all of the options and all of the things that you can encounter. The wiki will, right? It's a really good wiki. It's there for a reason. The RogueTech team is happy to help you if you have an issue, but nobody likes their time being wasted. And if you submit a bug, for instance, that's not working, and it's caused because you didn't actually follow the instructions properly, and you didn't go to the wiki, they're going to be kind of irritated with you. And well, there's probably good reason for them to be upset. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's what the wiki is. We're not going to go there in this tutorial. I'm going to trust that you're able to go there and review it and do what you need to do on your own. Okay. Reddit. I personally don't do much on Reddit. I have looked up a couple of things for various games on Reddit, but I'm not like a Redditor, if you want to call it that. But there is a subreddit for RogueTech, so if you like, want to participate in that, please go ahead and go there. Then there's the RogueTech Discord. I'm going to go ahead and provide the link for the RogueTech Discord down below. But the RogueTech Discord is amazing and full of a lot of people that are there to help, to share their experiences, both BattleTech and RogueTech and other things. And you can learn a lot there, and frankly, it's a great bunch of people. So I highly recommend joining the Discord. It's also where you need to go if you have to submit a bug. Okay. And then the asset bundle. You need the asset bundle. That's that cab file that we were just talking about, this other file. You must get it. Okay. Again, the link for that file will be down below, just like the link for the core will be down below. Right. So there you go. And once you're done, hit finish, and you're done with that piece. Right. So that installs the core. Now, whether you have, this is your first time installing RogueTech, or you're merely updating RogueTech, every time you install RogueTech Core or update it, you need to reinstall the Community Asset Bundle. Even if it's the same version of the Community Asset Bundle and you already have it installed, you must do it again. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, when you download the file, it is a zip file. Okay. What you need to do is go ahead and right-click and extract it. I have 7-zip, so I'm just going to extract it here. Don't extract it to your mods folder. That's not what it's for, okay? Extract it to a location that you will be able to find it again, all right? In this case, I'm just doing it in my downloads folder. And it'll take it a couple of minutes. It's 2.5 gigs, a little bit over 2.5 gigs at this stage, and getting bigger all the time. What this is it's the sound files and all the portraits and visual effects that go along with RogueTech. Now, the reason why they don't include it within RogueTech itself is because other mods use the Community Asset Bundle. That's why it's called the Community Asset Bundle. It's assets used by multiple different mods, right? So that's why it's separate. Anyway, this is going to extract 3 files. It's going to extract an executable and 2 bin files, okay? And it takes a couple of minutes, as I said. Just give it some time. As I said, I'm not going to fast forward to this point or skip it. You're welcome to fast forward through the video, but the reason why we're doing this is that for those that are concerned that it's taking too long or whatever, it gives you an idea of how, as of the shooting of this video, how long it took on a pretty decent system to do this installation. Okay. So anyway, I hope everybody's having a good time installing it right now. And while we're doing this, my headset just died. So, oh, no, it didn't. Hold on. It didn't detect any noise for a while, so I don't have any cool music playing or anything in the background. I know a lot of people do, but I find that distracting when I'm trying to listen to somebody give me instructions on something. So that's why I don't have cool music playing in the background or anything like that. But anyway, my headset was like, hey, I haven't heard anything yet, so I'm going to save battery by turning off. Well, thank you for that, but anyway. So that is the extraction process. All you need to do is double click on the executable, hit run. And again, it's an internet file, so it's going to go, oh my God, is there a problem? Just hit yes. Okay, that's why my screen went blank there. And then hit next. Accept the agreement. Again, we've already discussed the agreement. Hit next. It's automatically going to detect your location. If it doesn't for some reason, I've never heard of it not doing that, but if it doesn't, just go ahead and hit browse and it'll find it. Hit next and then install. Now, this does take a little bit of time as well, because what's happening is it's going to take all of the assets in those 2 bin files, and it's going to put them into the mods folder by itself. And this is what's really cool about RogueTech and the community asset bundle, the RogueTech team in general. You know, one of the biggest pains for me installing mods is it isn't installing the mod itself. Usually it's just a matter of sticking it in the proper folder. But it's sticking it in the proper folder at the right level, creating the proper folder structure, making sure that the various mods get into the proper folders and all the files that belong to them get into the proper folder. And when you're dealing with dozens of mods, like you do with RogueTech, that can be really, really tedious. And this is taking care of all of that for you, which is really, really, really nice. Okay. So as I said, this is going to take a couple of minutes. I will try to be as entertaining as I possibly can during that couple of minutes. But if you need to fast forward through this part, please, by all means, go ahead. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Okay. Now, what's nice about this is it. This is the last instruction I'm going to give you. It's not going to be the end of the video. We'll go ahead and launch BattleTech and take you all the way up to the moment where you're able to create your first lance. Your first mercenary company. But we'll fall short of creating the mercenary company. I'll do a separate video for that. But it's not hard. I know this video, like I said, is quite long, but there's a reason for that. I just wanted to explain all of the different settings and actually give you a real-world idea of how long it's going to go. But anyway, right now what it's doing, as I said, is taking all of the files, putting them in their proper places, that's it. If you guys have any questions about this video, please go ahead and join me on my Twitch channel. I do stream RogueTech, actually playing it, not just doing the install. I'm happy to answer any of your questions. Join the RogueTech Discord. There's a great community there, like I said. They're very supportive of new people, and I'm happy to have you. And ask new questions, okay? We're happy to help you. I am trying to cover everything I possibly can in this tutorial, though. But you know what? It's a snapshot in time, right? As time goes on, you know, they'll add things and maybe I don't cover them, right? Or maybe I just didn't cover them in the first place, and that's okay. Come and ask, and we will get you sorted out. It's almost done. Go ahead and wait for this to finish. Makes you want to get out and push the green bar across. Get over! Get out! But again, do not forget to install this. Even if, like I said, they update. Sometimes when they update RogueTech, they don't have to update the CAB, the Community Asset Bundle, and that's fine. But you still need to do, after you install RogueTech, even if you're not even doing an update, even if you're like reinstalling it because you want to change one of the settings, you still need to reinstall the Community Asset Bundle. Otherwise, it won't work properly. Anyway, once it's done, you'll hit finish. And the very last thing you need to do is go back over to Steam and launch BattleTech. Now, I'm not going to end the video quite yet because I want you to see something here, and I want to go over one last thing. And it's something that I keep forgetting and causes me problems every once in a while. The first thing I want to show is it's going to take a couple of minutes to launch BattleTech the first time you do a reinstall or an install or an update. Okay, that's because ModTech needs to come in here and get everything sorted, update the database, make sure the files are all where they need to be, register the files so the BattleTech is aware of them, etc., etc., etc. This takes a couple of minutes. Like we mentioned before, it's 2.5 gigs of additional data. It's going to take a bit for the game to initialize it and figure out where all of that is and do what it needs to do. It also connects you to and initializes the online map. Okay. And keep in mind, the online map is online. You're not going to get it as it was when it was very first made. Okay. But after a couple of minutes, it's going to go ahead and finish, and then we will be taken to the initial BattleTech screen. The last thing I really want to mention here is, I know it stays here for a while. I know that gets boring, and I know people like to multitask today. I do it all the time. Try not to alt-tab out of this. Every once in a while, ModTech freaks out when you alt-tab out of it while it's doing this initialization, and it crashes. It only does it for the first time. The first time that you have initialized it after doing a reinstall. Okay, I want to be clear on that. It isn't just the first time you install it, period. It's the first time after you do an update or an initial install. And if you alt-tab out, every once in a while, ModTech freaks out and it crashes the game. It's a known thing. Not much they can do about it. It just happens. So try not to alt-tab out. Doesn't happen every time, but it can happen. Keep that in mind. Oh, it's almost done now. It's going to go ahead and load everything and merge it all together, populate the database. Hurry up. Again, get out and push the little green bar across. Hurry up, hurry up. But once this part is done, this should be the last step, I believe. It's funny, you don't really pay attention to this part until you're doing a tutorial on it. All right, game's now loading. This game is actually now loading as it normally loads, so it takes a minute. And then, there it is. Okay. Now, if this is your first time looking at this, you may be a little bit alarmed. The screen has changed. That's fine. Don't worry about it. All they've done is change BattleTech to RogueTech, and they removed the campaign button. Because as we mentioned before, you can't play the campaign right now. Now, if you did choose the campaign option when you installed RogueTech, then this will look different. I'm not sure what it looks like, but you'll have the campaign option. Okay. But you can see down here in the bottom left corner, you can see what version of ModTech you have and what version of RogueTech you have, in addition to the version of the game that you own. And that is it. Guys, I hope this tutorial was useful. I hope you found it entertaining, at least a little bit. But more importantly, I hope you found it informative. If you have any questions, please respond down below on this video. And like I said, feel free to join the RogueTech Discord. And feel free to join me at twitch.tv/Alice_Wonderland Gaming. Thank you very much. And you guys have a good one.